What do you think of Crawford and Canelo? You think Crawford can knock Canelo out?
That's a good fight. Like, it depends how he adjusts. You know, moving up to another weight is different.
Yeah, you know.
Manny Pacquiao recently stunned the boxing world with a chilling response when asked about Terence Crawford's chances against Canelo Alvarez.
Because he's moving up to another level of weight.
I asked this because you did it with Margarito. You went to 54 and people were like, oh my God, this guy's so big, Margarito. But your speed made the difference in that fight. Well, what advice would you give a smaller guy like Crawford to fight someone like Canelo who's a lot bigger and stronger?
You know, preparing like that opponents, like is not only the speed, but you know the techniques that you can use in the fight.
While this might seem like a throwaway comment, it carries immense weight coming from someone who has fought in multiple weight divisions and faced some of boxing's most dangerous adversaries. At 46 years old, Pacquiao is preparing for his return to the ring, and his statement offers a reminder that even the most skilled fighters can face insurmountable challenges when they move beyond their natural weight classes.
Manny, you were a smaller fighter fighting bigger guys. What advice do you give Crawford for fighting Canelo, a bigger guy?
Oh, my advice is like make sure that he will focus on speed. That he is to like that's the problem when you moving up, like your speed and power. So you need to focus it.
The upcoming super fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is stirring up excitement akin to historic matchups like the famous Mayweather versus Pacquiao clash in 2015. However, this fight is unique in its own right. Crawford, undefeated and holding undisputed championships in 2 different weight divisions, is attempting a rare feat, becoming the first fighter to win undisputed titles in 3 separate weight classes. To do so, he must climb 2 divisions to face Canelo, the reigning king of super middleweight, who is at the peak of his powers.
I respect everybody, but if you fuck with me, so it's gonna be different.
Terence, is that true? Did Turkey Al-Sheikh ask you to spice things up?
Turkey didn't ask me to do nothing. I didn't touch him.
You know.
Listen.
Hey, we know, buddy. We know.
First and foremost, somebody was in the room saying that I was scared of them. So I stepped to him and showed him who was the boss of this fight. I ain't scared of shit.
Hey, I never say that. Your uncle say that, not me.
I ain't scared of shit, and you gonna find that out. And as you seen, the last press conference,
we'll see.
when I walked you down, when you supposed to be the bigger man.
Yeah, hey, you say that because you're fighting with nobody, and you obviously look like you're a great fighter. But you find out September 13th, this is gonna be different for you.
And it's gonna be different from you as well.
Not everyone agrees that Crawford has a real shot at dethroning Canelo, though. British middleweight Hamza Shiraz is one of the critics who believes the challenge will be too much for Crawford. Shiraz is quick to point out the significant difference in size and strength between the 2 fighters. While Crawford's skill and talent are beyond question, the jump in weight class, moving from welterweight to super middleweight, is a daunting prospect. Shiraz insists that Crawford's speed and skill, although impressive, might not be enough to overcome the sheer physicality and power that Canelo brings to the table.
I see my kind of perspective on that fight is, I feel like number one, there's a weight class for reasons, and I feel like if we're basing it off their last performances, Canelo had the better performance, I believe, even though he had a negative fight in front of him, and I feel like Crawford struggled a little bit with Madrimov's physicality. Yeah, it was very physical, and I feel like he struggled a little bit with it. And then you got to remember, Canelo's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's strong. He knows how to use his size. But then at the same time, at that level, you can't write off fighters like Crawford because he's so skillful. So him going up 2 weights, he could defy the odds because he's a generational great. But if I had to kind of put my money on it, I'd put my money on Canelo Alvarez to win via a stoppage.
The fight has generated intense debate among boxing insiders, with many experts offering their thoughts on how the contest might unfold. Michael Buffer, the legendary ring announcer, envisions a tactical battle where skill will outweigh brute strength. He believes that Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ and Canelo's technical prowess will lead to a chess match rather than a slugfest. Buffer predicts that the fight will be a close and strategic contest, with each fighter using their intelligence and experience to outmaneuver the other.
Michael, it's not a big fight unless you're announcing it. Canelo versus Crawford. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a close and interesting fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be a technical fight, not a power fight.
Now, what do you think about Dana White promoting it? Do you think
he's only proven himself to be one of the greatest promoters in the history of sports?
So he's good.
Pretty good deal.
He's good for boxing.
Oh yeah, he don't know what to do.
Because some people like De La Hoya have been a little critical of him, but he has the Michael Buffer approval, obviously. For sure. You're the man. Thank you.
Boxing analyst David Morrell has weighed in on the matter, acknowledging Crawford's immense skill, but also suggesting that he may be taking on more than he can handle by targeting Canelo. Morrell, who respects Crawford's abilities, points out that Canelo is simply too much for most fighters, no matter how talented they may be. His powerful punches and imposing physicality are what set him apart, and Morrell wonders if Crawford can cope with that at super middleweight. Despite Crawford's remarkable skills, Morrell believes that the Mexican champion's raw power will likely prove to be the deciding factor.
I say Crawford, but he's the crazy fight. It's too much. It's too much power for Crawford. I know he can do it for the money, but it's too much. It's too much power for Crawford, and Canelo is not easy. Canelo is stronger. It's difficult. It's difficult for Crawford to win the fight or to stay in the 12th round. So.
Kyrone Davis, who has trained alongside both fighters, offers a more measured perspective. While he acknowledges that Canelo is the naturally bigger fighter and more experienced at 168 pounds, Davis has been impressed by Crawford's discipline in training. He believes that Crawford's sharp boxing mind and his ability to physically transform might allow him to negate the size difference. While he doesn't see Crawford as a huge favorite, Davis suggests that the size gap might not be as significant as some think.
Have you been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been in there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford, he got a great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168. And it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody can do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
Okay.
On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson, a rising star in boxing, is completely confident in Crawford's chances. He believes that concerns over Crawford's size disadvantage are overstated, pointing out that Canelo's power might not be as overwhelming as some believe. Stevenson argues that Crawford's impeccable timing, lightning speed, and adaptability in the ring will allow him to control the fight. In fact, Stevenson goes as far as to suggest that Crawford could even stop Canelo, a scenario that would send shockwaves through the boxing world.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud. So that would
apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height-wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so, no.
Richardson Hitchens shares a similarly confident outlook on Crawford's chances, but with some reservations. While Hitchens believes Crawford's unique style, built on intelligent movement and adaptability, will be key to his success, he remains cautious about predicting a knockout. He's not sure that Crawford will be able to generate enough power to seriously hurt someone as battle-tested as Canelo.
I think Terence Crawford is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. You know, switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be a lot for. It's gonna be something different for Canelo, but then Canelo's Canelo. You know, Canelo been first title defense was in 2011 versus Ricky Hatton, and he's still on top to the present time. So this is over 10 years. We're going on like 15 years of this guy fighting on the championship level. So there's nothing new for him. So I do believe that it's gonna be a huge fight for both guys. But obviously I'm backing Bud. You know, I have a personal relationship with Terence Crawford, and he's a black fighter, and I do want to see my own winning. I think, you know, Bud is a great guy, you know, especially always being hands-on with the young fighters coming up behind him, guys like me, Shakur, Devin Haney's, being in the gym with guys like us, and, you know, just giving us free game and shit like that. So I think that would be motivation for the young ones behind him, to show them like, yeah, like I could do it, like you could do it too. So I really want to see Bud win that fight, and I think that he can.
Sergio Mora, a former champion, takes a more nuanced approach. He argues that while the old adage, a good big man beats a good small man, usually holds true, Canelo's recent performances have shown signs of decline. Canelo's movement has slowed, and he's struggled against fighters who use distance and footwork. Mora suggests that Crawford's size and height advantage could surprise those who expect a physical mismatch, but he still leans slightly toward Canelo, predicting that the Mexican will win by decision in a hard-fought contest.
Canelo, Terence Crawford, September, the super fight. I know you'll be there. Talk to me about what happens in that fight.
Hey, listen, man. You know, for a long time I kept saying, you know, a great big man will beat a great small man. That's just how it is in boxing. But after Canelo's last performance, like many people, man, he struggled against a guy in cutting off the ring, a longer guy that wasn't trying to make it a fight. And Canelo has lost a step. Let's keep it real. I mean, he's a man with over 65 fights. He's been fighting professionally since he was 15 years old. There's wear and tear, there's injury. He can turn old overnight. And believe it or not, he's younger than Crawford. But Crawford doesn't have those miles. You know, Crawford's 37 years old. He can turn old overnight. But I still like Crawford, man. He's just a mean dude. He's been bulking up nicely, doing it the right way. He looks bigger. He looks bigger than Canelo right now as far as like height, the shoulders. I think it's going to be a decision type fight. I think Crawford's in this fight. And I don't think Canelo leaves unscathed. I think he'll leave a little bruised and beat up, but he'll still win the decision.
Eddie Hearn, one of the most influential promoters in boxing, initially saw Canelo as the heavy favorite. He believed that Canelo's size and experience would ultimately be too much for Crawford. However, after witnessing Canelo's unimpressive performance against Skull, Hearn began to reconsider. He now believes the fight is closer to a 50-50 proposition. Crawford's confidence, preparation, and high boxing IQ have impressed Hearn, making this one of the most difficult fights to predict.
He has no doubt in his mind that he's going to win this fight, and anyone that has movement is going to cause Canelo problems at this stage in his career. And first, when the fight was made, I thought that Canelo Alvarez would be a huge favourite in this fight because of the size, but I really see it as a 50-50 fight. Like I honestly probably favouring Crawford.
Wow.
Because of what I saw.
Oh, you're gonna get another Canelo text.
Yeah, nah. But I want Canelo to win. Just want to put that out there as well. But I see it like, I'm talking like 55-45. But I would always pick Canelo. But I just being, you know, that leaving Times Square, I got on the plane with Crawford and we flew to I've spent a lot of time with him over the years, and he's a massive believer in himself, massive. And he's got a tremendous boxing IQ, and he knows boxing inside out. And he's so convinced he wins this fight. And Canelo's got to switch up everything he's been doing in the last few fights. Like a William Skull performance will not beat Terence Crawford. I don't think an Edgar Berlanga performance will beat Terence Crawford. I don't think a Jaime Munguia performance or a Charlo performance will beat Terence Crawford.
Mike Tyson, a boxing legend known for his power and mental toughness, has thrown his support behind Crawford. Tyson believes that heart, grit, and determination can overcome physical disadvantages, and he sees these qualities in Crawford. Tyson compares Crawford to the great Henry Armstrong, who overcame adversity with relentless pressure and willpower. According to Tyson, Crawford's indomitable spirit might just be enough to pull off what many still see as an upset.
Canelo's going to fight Crawford in September on another huge event brought by Saudi Arabia. Who do you think wins that fight? Is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
You know, there's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible, you know. Henry Armstrong is a featherweight, and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size means nothing. Determination means everything.
Jermall Charlo, who knows firsthand the challenges of facing Canelo, offers Crawford a word of advice. While size matters, Charlo believes that Crawford's strength lies in his speed, agility, and boxing IQ. He warns that focusing too much on bulking up could take away from the very attributes that make Crawford such a dangerous fighter. Charlo encourages Crawford to stick to his strengths, his sharpness, precision, and movement, instead of trying to match Canelo in a physical battle.
I like Crawford, all right? My brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I gotta get massive, I gotta get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermell Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as happening. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're gonna see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all gotta think about it like
big for Crawford.
The money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence Crawford.
But you're picking Canelo?
I'm not picking either one of their ass.
Caleb Plant, another former Canelo opponent, takes a more mental approach to the fight. He believes that the outcome will come down to which fighter can maintain their focus and composure in the heat of battle. Both fighters have been in high-pressure situations before, and Plant believes mental toughness will be the deciding factor. He predicts a razor-close fight, where the fighter with the stronger mental resolve will ultimately emerge victorious.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch, he's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw, he can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.
Jose Benavidez Sr. isn't holding out hope for a fight full of fireworks when Canelo Alvarez meets Terence Crawford. Drawing from recent, less than spectacular bouts that Canelo has had against fighters like William Skull and Jermell Charlo, Benavidez expects Crawford to take a cautious, defensive approach. In his view, Crawford will likely prioritize safety over offense, steering clear of taking risks that could lead to damage. If that happens, the fight may turn into a prolonged tactical battle, with the fighter spending long stretches in defense and only exchanging punches sporadically.
Crawford's a little guy, you know. He's coming up 2 divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and you think he's gonna go toe-to-toe with Canelo? Come on, man. You know, Terence Crawford's a great fighter, really good fighter, but that's too much weight for him. So he's gonna try to survive and move around and try to win the round. That's what's gonna happen. I think Canelo at this stage right now,
legs are not the same. You know, the body's not responding the same. So I think he's gonna have problems trying to catch Terence Crawford, to be honest with you. And I think it's gonna be the same fight. You know, I think it's gonna be a boring fight. It's gonna. I'm hoping that, you know, it's a little bit exciting, because I heard that Canelo was the worst fight ever on pay-per-view to throw the less punches in history. So we're hoping to see a great fight, a good fight, but that matchup is not a matchup to be exciting.
Zab Judah takes a more optimistic stance when it comes to Crawford's chances. Not only does Judah believe Crawford will win, but he even predicts that Crawford could stop Canelo before the final bell. Judah is particularly impressed by Crawford's dedication and focus in training, believing that his ability to adapt during a fight will give him a major edge. Judah points to Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ, suggesting that his capacity to execute complex strategies will be a critical factor, particularly if the fight evolves into a technical chess match.
That's badass. Okay, what about Canelo and Crawford?
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen him stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops him. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody? Skills pay the bills.
On the other side of the ring, elite super middleweight contender David Benavidez has some serious reservations about Crawford's decision to leapfrog the middleweight division and go straight to 168 pounds. Benavidez stresses the dangers of the super middleweight division, acknowledging its physicality and the sheer power that fighters at this weight possess. He questions whether Crawford truly grasps the risks of jumping 2 weight classes and whether the Omaha native is fully prepared to face the dangers that come with taking on the division's best, especially someone like Canelo.
Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Errol Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68?
I don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah, I can make 168.
Amir Khan, who has faced both fighters in the ring, offers a unique perspective rooted in his own experiences. Having been knocked out by both Canelo and Crawford, Khan knows firsthand the kind of power each fighter carries. He acknowledges that Canelo's punching power is likely the heavier of the two, but he also asserts that Crawford is no slouch in that department. Despite Crawford moving up in weight, Khan points out that the American's power is enough to make Canelo think twice about walking forward too recklessly.
Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford potentially fighting in September. You're going to get asked a lot about this fight, but as you sit here, you know, sort of a month, quite a few months away, how do you look at the fight between Canelo and Crawford?
I mean, look, there's weights for a reason in boxing, and even though I've got a huge respect for Terence Crawford for showing the balls that he wants to go in the ring and fight a beast like Canelo, but like I said, Canelo, maybe Crawford sees something that you know, other people are not seeing against Canelo, which is like maybe he's gone past his sell-by date, and maybe Crawford is the guy to catch him at the right time, you know. So let's see. I mean, I think it's a brilliant fight. Let's see if it happens. But like I said, if it doesn't happen, obviously I'm going to support my boy, Terence Crawford. He's a good friend of mine. Obviously we fought each other, but sometimes you put that to a side, and he shared the training camp with me last time. He spent some good time with me. I was at his house, and always shows love. So look, he's one of the best fighters in the world. For him to go up 2 divisions is something I did back in the day when I was at the peak of my career after beating like Devin Alexander and all the big names. So look, I wish him all the very best, and I think he can do it. You know what I mean? One thing about Terence Crawford, he has great box IQ. His IQ his IQ is so perfect where he'll see everything. So yeah.
Jaron Boots Ennis also shares some doubts about Crawford's jump from super welterweight to super middleweight. Ennis respects Crawford's skills and recognizes the challenges he has overcome, but he questions whether jumping over an entire weight class is the wisest decision. Ennis points out that moving directly from 154 pounds to 168 pounds could be a steep and dangerous climb for Crawford, especially when considering the experience and maturity that Canelo has at 168 pounds.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. You know, it's gonna be a great fight. You know, the fans want to see it. So, you know, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. You know, at like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, you know, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger, you know, and things like that. You know, I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, you know, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
As the fight draws near, the tension continues to build. Opinions are divided on who will come out on top, but one thing is certain: this is a clash for the ages, and the boxing world will be watching closely.